Well, good afternoon, everyone, and happy week two. I hope you enjoyed getting back in the swing of things with week one and Sir Ken Robinson. He's such a great public speaker, was such a great public speaker. He passed away in 2020, but he was so dynamic to see live. He's so great in his TED Talk videos. He's written numerous books. If you haven't had a chance to read any of them, I would suggest reading at least one to all of them. But I absolutely agree with him that imagination and creativity are just as important as literacy. And without imagination and creativity, I doubt I would be as literate as I am because I just loved to read. I loved to read from very, very early on because I loved imagining stories in my mind. I loved imagining characters in my mind. And imagination and creativity is so much needed in this day and age with our students in a time period post pandemic where we're trying to bring joy back into education and build community again. You know, having the ability to really see students and see that little ember hidden in there that they're really into, something that they might think is weird, or you're like, no, 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 wait, this could be really good. It's great to be able to note those things and kind of, and tell them the things that they could do with it. A lot of times people will say something like when students are doing music or art or dance, they'll act like that's like a hobby field, or something that they do, after this. And it's great to teach students all of the things that they can do with music or art or dance, in real life, in the real world. I think I've told you before, my son is a sound engineer. And, so I mean, he still plays music, he plays in bands, he does all of those things, but he's a sound engineer, which is a really great job. And so a lot of times students, will put those things aside and think that they have to do something else. And they just don't know that there's all of these different things that they can do with their art, their creativity, their imagination in the real world. And that goes, I mean, look at technology, science, mathematics, all of those things, each one of those people that, their names are on your lips right now. If you read their stories, they always talk about moments of alignment, these moments of alignment where something happened, where they saw something in a different way from someone else, and it created that aha moment, that imagination, that creativity that built something unique. So we want to keep that in mind when we're teaching. Okay, so on to week two. So, week two, you have an action packed week two in front of you. You are going to be talking about chapters 3 and 4, Ornstein and Hunkins, on your discussion board. You'll note what I wrote, that the text is jam packed with events, time periods, influential figures, principles, theories, foundations, perspectives, methods, and mindsets, all under the influence for our current understanding of curriculum. And your task is to pick one area of focus from either of the chapters, choose a scholarly article, which equates to preferably within the last 5 years, and it needs to be peer reviewed. So you want something current. And present a brief literature analysis, and then share with your classmates through the discussion board any takeaways or classroom/curriculum implications you gleaned from the task. Remember to be sure to include in-text citations and use this as an opportunity to practice your paraphrasing skills. You're going to need that for capstone. If you go into the doctoral program, you're going to need that as well. A literature analysis should still reflect your voice and writing style. You want to have that personality in it, just like we hear with Sir Ken. I want to hear your voice and your style. Avoid relying too heavily on the use of direct quotations. You really want to paraphrase and put it into your own words. Remember to use APA 7 style for your format and for your references. And remember, last week I sent you that Scribber link so you can just keep a running record of your references that are already cited correctly and just copy and paste that into your work as needed. One reference or however many you need. And remember that in your references, when you reference things, your APA reference list at the bottom of your post, you always want to have those links active. That's part of APA 7, that your reference link should be active. So if somebody's reading your thoughts, your opinions, they can open that in another window, look at that article, kind of compare it with what you've got going on, think about those things. So don't forget to make those links active. Remember that your initial response is due on or before Thursday, 11:50 p.m. this week, and nicely detailed follow-up responses to your cohort. Remember, a minimum of 2 are due on or before 11:59 p.m. this Sunday. So that's your discussion board, okay? And then your assignment is a graphic organizer. So if you open up the graphic organizer, you will see directions. It says the first thing you're going to do is you're going to create a Word doc file. To do this, click on the File tab and hover over Download As to make a Word document copy. This is in Google. It is your Word document file that you will work on, save, and submit in Blackboard. Submit in Canvas. I need to change that. Remember also that you want to change in the word, you want to submit the Word document, but I also like you. It's up to you, but I also like you to put a PDF of the document in as well, in case there are any coding issues between what you upload and Canvas that cause weird kinks, like wonkiness in your file format. So it's always good to add that PDF as well. You're going to fill out the chart, and when you open up the chart, you're going to see that I've asked you to provide a quotation from the text that you feel best defines or describes the historical foundation. And in parentheses, you'll see it says provide an in-text citation with page number. For the colonial period, the national period, influence of 19th century European educators, universal education, transitional period, the field of curriculum begins. And then psychological foundations, the same thing. You'll do the same thing: behaviorism, cognitive psychology, and phenomenology and humanistic psychology. And then the second column says provide and briefly describe a modern day implication that you feel can be traced back to the historical period or to a specific contributor at that time. So you are looking at today and you're going, wow, I see this from the colonial period still today, or I see this from the transitional period still today. Um, and you're going to do the same thing for the psychological foundations as well. Okay? And remember, that's due Sunday on or before 11:59 p.m.